I wanted to make an intermission video at the 20 chapter mark because this book is very long, very involved, and difficult to read. And but I know that it is full of godly wisdom. And I was very interested in the author, but couldn't find anything online about Cora Harris McElravy. And so when I sent for the book, the El Bethel Publishing sent me just a very short biography, but I wanted to share it. Cora Harris McElravy was born on November 21st, 1860, in La Crosse, Wisconsin, during a time when her mother was visiting with her father's side of the family. Cora went home to be with the Lord on her 92nd birthday, November 21st, 1952, at 5:40 a.m. In her early life, Cora never met her father because he was killed in the Civil War shortly after her birth. Her mother went back east to New York State to be near her family. A few years later, Cora's mother married Cora's stepfather, Deacon Short, whom she met at a large Baptist church, where as a young girl Cora was baptized. He was to be for Cora a most precious father, whom even into her late years she esteemed with tender high regard. In her adult years, Cora moved to Chicago, Illinois, where she eventually met her husband, Enoch Lawrence McElravy. There they began attending a Baptist church on the south side of Chicago. She taught Bible class in the church. She had a little prayer room in their apartment, and this became a place where she earnestly began to seek God through prayer and reading and memorization of the Word. A deep hunger for more of God began to take root in her heart. During the early days of the Great Revival at the turn of the century, she prayed for the baptism of the Holy Spirit. Then in 1906, after spending time at the old North Avenue Mission in Chicago, she went home to her own little prayer closet and received the baptism of the Holy Spirit. It was through many financial hardships and trials that she found herself being drawn deeper and closer to the Lord. At her first seeking, she asked to have the trials removed, but then instead of lifting them, the Father revealed himself in them until she sought him for himself with an abandonment that marked her Christian life throughout. Cora took great interest in the problems of all who came to her or wrote to her. Her wise words of counsel, the sweet outflow of the divine love through her, offered wisdom and solace to all who sought her tenderness. In 1909, she began to meet daily for united prayer with her adopted daughter, Sarah McElravy Berry, who passed away in 1919, and Sister Jenny E. Ward. Then in 1912, God made it clear to Cora that she was to start a work that the Lord laid on her heart to establish a work called El Bethel. Shortly following, the work for the El Bethel magazine began, as well as the writing of the book that you have in your hands, dear reader, Christ and His Bride, an exposition on this book of the Song of Solomon. So when I read that, I was a little bit discouraged that they didn't go more into her experience with being filled with the Holy Spirit. And so I wanted to share a little bit about my experience with the baptism. And um, I've written a small book. It's on Amazon. It's called Let Me Show You Who You Are, Breaking Out of Bondages. I'll put the link in the description box. But I thought maybe if you were curious as to how to get to the receiving the baptism, I just wanted to share my own experience. Okay, I'm going to start in the midst of a chapter. Several years later, I experienced my next step forward in God while reading a book on being set free from oppressing influences. It directed me to pray and ask forgiveness for all the things I'd ever done that were wrong or hurt others, then to forgive everyone who ever hurt me. I sat for 3 hours in this time of prayer, poring over all the memories of my life. At the end of this intense introspection, I suddenly saw three bodies lift and float out of me. Over time, I came to see these were spirits of shame, fear, and sadness, things that had been a lifelong struggle. Suddenly, I was filled with an intense joy, and opening my mouth, a strange language came out. For the next 3 days, I had to think to speak in English. Every time I opened my mouth to speak, I did so in these unknown words. It was no self conjured experience, but a true baptism of God's Holy Spirit. And I hope that you come to receive this wonderful gift